All righty, we have a quorum now. Let's go ahead and get this meeting started. We'll go ahead and start with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Mark, you want to be so kind and lead us in a quick invocation?
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the rain we've received, and we pray that we get more up beyond the reservoirs, and so we have plenty of water. Thank you for Los Fresnos. Thank you for those that serve our community and the elected positions, and we pray that you continue to bless them in their decisions. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any visitors' remarks at this time? Alrighty, we'll move on to consent agenda items. We have a total of 8. Is there any that the council would like to move aside, or is there a motion to be made?
I just want to pull out number 5 for one question.
Number 5? Okay, any other questions that want to be put aside, any other consent agenda items, or is there a motion to be made with the exception of number 5?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda items with the exception of number 5.
I second the
All
motion.
right, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Okay, consent agenda item number 5 reads, consideration and action to approve the second reading of ordinance 562, amending the code of ordinance of the city of Los Fresnos. Said code is hereby amended by changing the speed limits, provided for a penalty not to exceed $500 for any violation thereof, providing for an effective date, providing for publication, providing for severability, and ordaining other provisions related to the subject matter thereof. What is your question, Councilman?
My question is, Mark, when this goes into effect, is there a possibility to kind of be lean on the personals? Because since the mileage is going to change, a lot of people are going to know that it's going to be a change to that. So we don't want to start giving tickets the same day. I mean, you can get tickets, maybe a couple of warnings, hey, it changed, we got to be careful here. So that was the only question that I had, to see if possible.
Yeah, if you'll remember though, it's going up from 30 to 35, so I don't think people have a problem with that. There is a little piece about 300 feet from the city limits to the last drive on 2480 that it'll be 45 later than 55. That would be the only area. But yeah, they won't do that.
Now, these haven't changed yet, correct?
No, this has to be approved first. And then we send it to TxDOT and they'll have to put it on their schedule.
Yeah, I think if anything, we'll just try to do our job as city council, help you and help Jackie and everybody involved, the police and the judicial, to try to, I guess, if anything, if there's, we can put something on Facebook, individually, city-wise, whatever you guys do, we'll share it as well, so, thanks.
Yeah, the $500 penalty is a Class C misdemeanor and allowed by the state for that, so.
Yeah, but it won't be that. That's what they require you to put, because it can, the maximum would be that. It
can be less, it's just not to exceed.
Yeah.
Right, just say the maximum can only be up to 5.
All right, is there a motion to be made, or is there any other questions before we make a motion?
I make a motion to approve number 5.
Okay, motion made
Second.
and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Moving on to action item number 1, consideration and action to approve or reject any or all proposals received for group health insurance. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, got a lot of proposals, and you can see the varied proposals. There's all from a low deductible to a much higher deductible, and all of those affect the price. What we're proposing is option two. Since all of them with a $500 deductible went up so much, we're proposing to move the deductible to $1,500 instead of $500, and then the out-of-pocket from $2,000 to $3,000. It'll still be an increase for us, but it's something we can handle versus all of the other proposals at $500 deductible. So that's our recommendation.
Mark, with option two, just for people out there who don't understand, the 2,000 to 3,000, what does that incur? What does that mean?
That's the out-of-pocket for each individual, maximum out-of-pocket in a year would move from 2,000 to 3,000.
Is this something you discussed with directors or employees here within the city and felt
Yeah.
that was okay? Thank you.
Well, no, yes, but no one really wants, as an employee,
of
higher
course.
deductible or.
Of
higher
course,
pocket.
understandable,
So
but they
you have
are
to-
aware something's happening like this.
We have to mesh that with budgetary constraints, so we still have a very, very good healthcare policy.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any other questions, or is there a motion to be made with action item number one?
Going to make a motion to pass action item number one, consideration and action to approve or reject all our proposals received by the group health insurance, and it will be option number two that will be taken into effect.
Motion made.
I second the motion.
It's been seconded as well. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Action item two, consideration and action to approve or reject any or all proposals received for group life insurance. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a $20,000 life insurance policy for each employee that the city has had in effect for a while. You can see it's Mutual of Omaha currently, and the renewal is the same rate, and they're lower than all the others, so that's our recommendation, is to stay with the Mutual of Omaha with the renewal rate for the same amount.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any questions or comments from the board, or is there a motion to be made?
It's option number one is the one
Yeah.
the recommendations, keeping it the same with Mutual Omaha. I don't see any changes from last year, the current system as well. And we've had good business with Mutual Omaha, so I will approve the action item in consideration to approve and reject any and all proposal received for group life insurance. It'll be option number one, Mutual of Omaha, Greer and Associates renewal.
Motion has been made,
I'll second.
and it's been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Action item three, consideration and action to approve or reject any or all proposals received for supplemental insurance. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is both dental and vision, and it's something we get for the employee. The employees actually pay this part of it. The city doesn't pay that. So we currently have with Humana, with Pierre Newkirk, and that current policy is 1428, and the renewal is 1637. We got a quote from Mutual in Omaha. You can see it's number 3 there, United Healthcare, for 1544 for the renewal, the same, it's, be the same thing, so that's our, recommendation for, the dental. Did I say vision before?
Yeah, you did, but this
It's
is dental.
And then the second part of that is the vision. Currently have Mutual of Omaha for that at $570 a month. And the renewal is the same amount, so that's our recommendation.
All right, Mark, so it looks like we're going with dental at option number 3, which goes up slightly. And
Yes.
with the vision, we're staying the same with the option, staying with the same carrier.
Correct.
All right, any questions or comments from the board, or is there a motion to be made?
Just one question there, Mark, with the option number 3 versus the Humana number 1. 1544 for United Healthcare and 1637 employee only. So Humana actually went up from the 1428. That's the consideration, that's the initial consideration to change. Obviously, insurance is going up, period. If we can limit that number for employees here at the city, I'm all for it. I don't know, anybody else have any more questions?
Any more questions or comments from the board, or is there a motion to be made?
I'll make the motion to approve the action item on number 3. Any proposals received for supplemental insurance, which is dental, option number 3, United Healthcare, and option number 1 for vision, Omaha, Mutual of Omaha.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
A motion has been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Consideration and action to increase dumpster garbage rates and update the fee schedule with approved fees. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if you'll recall, our contract with Republic Services has a escalator that increases each month depending on the CPI index on certain things, and of course, it's gone up. Fortunately, we negotiated several years ago in that contract to cap it at 4%. It went up by 5.39% this year, but since we got a cap, it's at 4%. So they're increasing the cost to us by 4%. If you'll recall, we've discussed on the carts for several years that our cost is almost the same as what we charge, which is $20. Now with the 4%, it goes over, and so with the 4%, it'll be $20.40 for us, our cost. And that doesn't include, us handling that and billing those, as well as losses that we have when people don't pay for their garbage. So my recommendation is that we move it to $25. Yeah, it's a $5 jump per month, be $60 a year, but we haven't gone up since 2012. In 2012, we took a jump, I think it was 13 or 14, and we went to 20 because we didn't want to be changing it every year. For comparison, I put in there, Republic Services does the same service for county residents, and it's $34.29 a month. So they're still getting, at $25, they're still getting better. Plus, we also offer, you can put anything out there except an engine on the side.
I'll pick that one up,
And
don't
they'll
worry
pick
about
it
it.
up. So So that's the piece on the cart. And then on the dumpsters for commercial, all we are saying is we'll go by the 4%. We don't make anything on that, extra. So we just go up to 4% that they went and charge that to those folks that use the dumpsters.
So Mark, CPI is down at 2.5% as the last reading. I mean, is this gonna change, or what number are they using from CPI? Are they using the one from last year? Or are they using the one from now?
Yeah, they used it last year, and it's not all the CPI, it's parts of it, dealing with mainly diesel fuel,
Like core PCI?
diesel fuel and parts and maintenance and things like that. I don't have that with me, but it's,
Hopefully this is a one-year thing, because with maybe next year, the renewal rate would be lower, given that things have come down from last year to
yeah,
this
if it's
year.
only 2%, then they can't go higher than 2. But the last 2 years, it's been over 4, if you'll recall.
Yeah. Questions or comments from the board, or is there a motion to be made?
I make a motion to approve the increased dumpster garbage rates and update the fees schedule with approval fees.
Motion has been made,
I'll second.
and it's been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Action item number 5. Consideration and action to approve Resolution 13-2024, approving the agreement between the State of Texas and the City of Los Fresnos for the maintenance, control, supervision, and regulation of certain state highways and/or portions of the state highway in the City of Los Fresnos, and providing for an execution of said agreement. Mark?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, this is a contract that's already in place. We're just updating it. It's been a few years since it's been updated, so our limits have changed from the last one, because now we take in parts of 100 all the way to past Stripes, 803, and takes in a little piece of 803, takes in a little piece of 1575, so that's included in there. It shows where they do some of the things and we do some of the things. They're still in charge of maintenance on the road, in charge of all of the traffic signals. We pick up trash and sweep and do those kinds of things.
Mark, are they also in charge of, on Ocean Boulevard, those guardrails that were damaged a
Yes.
little bit? Okay.
Yeah, we've sent that to them.
All right, thank you, Mark.
And it also, like the item that you approved, that Juan asked about, that we talked about last time, but it was the consent agenda item, they set the speed limits through a study, and so they set them based on 85%, I believe, of the traffic that goes through there. They set the speed limits by that, and so that was why that recommendation came a few months ago to us.
Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you, Mark. If not, if there's a motion to be made.
I make a motion to approve the resolution 13-2 and 2024 approval agreement between the state of Texas and the city of Los Fresnos for the maintenance and control, supervision, and regulation of certain state highways and the portions of the state highway in the city of Los Fresnos, and provide for the section of the said agreement.
Okay, motion has been made.
I'll second that.
And motion has been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raising your hand. Aye. And those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Okay, at this time, we have action item number 6. We do have a visitor's remarks, and so I'm just going to read out the action item, and then we can have the gentleman or the person come up. Consideration and action to approve the bids received for the following pest control. Ricardo Trevino, if you would like to come up to the podium, there's a button, just hit it. When it turns red, you're available to speak. You'll have a time, I believe it's 4 or 5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies. The reason that I'm here is we were awarded the pest control services to Massey Services in the previous agenda. And we did come, we signed the agreement, and a day after we signed, we were told that there was a mistake, and since we were the second to the lowest bidder, that it was going to be brought up for reconsideration. Now, I know that most of these bids, a lot of other municipalities don't only look at the lowest bidder to be the contractor. So I'm here to tell you guys, we're local. The other contractor that was the lowest bidder comes from Corpus Christi. We're right here in Harlingen. Our response time is going to be within 24 hours. It could maybe even be in that same day. I have my boss here that could approve all of that. And if it's a pricing issue, then he also approved to me that we are able to price match.
Can you give an example of some of the services you do
I
provide for us?
don't know if we can do that right now. Can we do this yet, or do we do it when? Okay, just making sure, because it's a comment, public forum.
Well, the type of services that we would be doing would be the treatment of your facilities or in the bid. I believe it's this location and various other locations, including the shooting range. And it would be for basically any type of pest that was in there.
Do you have the technology where you can see through the walls and see the actual pest in the walls?
We do have cameras where we're able to do like a little pinhole and.
Yeah, there's one that can pick up the heat signatures in the walls if there's any termites.
I'm pretty sure we're able to get that from one of our facilities in the upper regions, like in the Austin area. They have a little bit more of that technology, but we're able to get all of that stuff.
So are you local as far as only Harlingen, or are you in Austin, or?
We actually extend all the way to Florida.
So you're a big company, it's just your local representation?
Right.
Okay,
We actually, like our company was Safeguard Pest Control. And that was a local company. We were purchased by Massey Services.
Well, we appreciate you being here today and doing what you're doing, and definitely something that I know that we all consider. We also consider local. I mean, that's big for all of us here. So at this point, we appreciate you being here. Thank you very
Well,
much.
and I'm a local guy. I was born here in Los Fresnos.
Oh, were you?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for being here today and taking time.
Thank you. Do I press?
Mark,
Yes.
yeah, Mark, one question. So the lowest bid was coming from Paderes Pest Control? Is that what it,
It's Big M Pest Control.
Big M,
And,
705, I got you.
I put in my notes, with me, I do not know. I do not know. This is exactly the same form that was in the package before. And we didn't write anything down wrong. It just, I looked at it and made the wrong recommendation, and I hate it, that happened because it puts everybody in a bad situation, and I hate it for them. I hate it for me that I did it. But we need to go with, honor the low bid unless there's a reason to not do that. Big M Pest Control has had it for the last year, and we haven't had any problems. I don't know whether they come from Corpus or they have someone here in the valley. I don't really know that, but we haven't had any problem with the service, so there would be a reason to change if that were the case, but it's not.
And because they put bids, the price match thing is a little unethical, because then they can say, well, yeah, I'll price match you, even though we appreciate what you're doing. It is unethical for us to go with the lowest bid and then go with another bid and price match it. It kind of doesn't look good. Kind of like going with him, but at the same time, you know, I know that there's a certain process in place, you know, that we have to honor. Any questions from the board? I'm like curious to see what everybody else thinks. If there's no other questions, if there's a motion to be made?
So Mark, are we going for a 3-year or a 1-year contract? Is that what would we be proposing on?
It's the 3-year. Yeah. And legally, we don't have any way to stand that not accept that. Like I say, apologies, we're in a tough situation caused by me, but legally, we need to honor the bid process.
To be on the correct side, I'm hearing you guys say, but Big M, you're Big M? No. You're Misty Services?
Massey.
Well, it's obvious that right now our hands kind of are tight. I mean, we do go for, the city's recommended to get the lowest bid at any motion. The bid has been made, all the calculations were out. It's very unfortunate, representatives from Massey, that y'all were notified. Sometimes it happens, and I do apologize for that. But when it comes to the implementations of the budgets itself, there's only so much we can do. I do thank you for showing up and, you know, being great representatives for your company. But unfortunately, I will have to make the consideration for Big M Pest Control as our pest provider for the next 3 years.
Okay, motion has been made,
I'll second.
and motion has been second. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raise your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose? Okay, motion carries. Thank you again for being here. And we look forward to seeing you here in the future, okay? Thank you. Consideration and action to approve the bids received for the following vehicle washing. Mark?
If y'all recall, last month, we did not accept that bid and rebid it. We got 2 proposals back, and our recommendation is to with under construction for a 1 year. That's the lowest. The other one was a 1 year, 3 year, but it's higher, so I think we should just stick with under construction. They've been doing it for the past year, so that's our recommendation to continue on.
Just a quick question, Mark. Do they bring it, do they come to the areas and do it there on?
Yes,
facility?
for PD, they just do it there, and then Public Works, they go there and they do that on a Saturday. PD, we rotate vehicles, so it's easier to do it during the day and during the week, regular working hours. But they understand that Public Works, they all use them all every day except Saturday and Sunday, so that's when they take care of those.
Thank you, Mark, for that insight. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, if there's a motion to be made.
Make a motion for the action to approve the bid received for under construction for the efforts of vehicle washing.
Okay, motion has been made,
I second that motion.
and motion has been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Consideration and action to reappoint or appoint of members to the Los Fresnos Housing Authority. Mark, we have an application, right?
Yeah, we don't have any that I saw, right?
Who's on there is willing to serve? Continue.
Excuse me?
Is there anybody's term limit up or anything that anybody's stepping down?
Yeah, Robin Garrett, place two. There are the comments on page 76.
So at this time, since we don't have anybody, we're gonna have to table this so we can look for some candidates,
Let's take no
and
action.
then they can take no action on this. So,
Just one quick question there, Mark. This is for the housing, correct? That was for the housing.
okay, we'll go ahead and move forward. No action taken. Moving on to number 9. Consideration and action to approve Resolution 15-2024 for the City Council for the City of Los Fresnos, expressing its nomination for Appraisal District Directors for the Cameron County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the process changed a little bit. Used to, we were a group of smaller entities, cities, and we nominated one, and then later we voted on that one place. State legislature changed that the way appraisal districts are people are put on the board. I think there's 3 elected people and 6. One is the guy from the appraisal board, and then there's 5 that we can nominate, and then next month we vote on. So we can nominate 0. If you don't have anybody, you can nominate up to 5. Other cities will do the same. All the nominations are taken, and then we'll get a ballot the next month with all the nominations from everyone, and then decide who we vote for.
So can we nominate from the 5 individuals on the list?
Yeah, you can nominate 1 or 5 or 2 or none. So it's up to y'all.
Do we have to nominate somebody right now? Okay,
No, because other cities will do it
okay.
as well.
I wish not to do any nominations at this time. Do I have the same consensus from everybody else? And so we can move on?
Yeah, we agree, Mayor, at this point. If
Okay.
somebody wanted a nomination, they could have come up to us.
Great, so at this point, we're not going to take any action. No nominations will be made on this action item. And we'll go ahead and continue on to action item number 10, if everybody's okay with it. Okay,
I
all right, so let's move forward. So no action taken on number 9. Number 10 reads, discuss and approve award to selected grant management firms for grant application, and implementation services for the Los Fresnos 2025-2026 Texas Community Development Grant Fund program administered by the Texas Department of Agriculture. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a 2-year cycle that we are in to get usually around 500,000. It changes. We have a project that we just finished that we did some sewer work on Fifth Street, behind the houses on Fifth Street, and then several places around town. And then the one that we're doing now is some street work on that, the engineering work is being done now on Fifth, Seventh, and Ninth Street. So this is the new cycle. We haven't determined a project yet, but we've got to start getting the grant administration services in place and also the engineering, which is the next item. So we solicited proposals. We got one proposal back with GrantWorks. Nelda Beretta is here with GrantWorks. They've done quite a few of these for us. Have a great staff that can put together grants from parks to streets to water to sewer. So they're kind of our go-to anyway, and so it's good that they put in a proposal, and we still have to rate them. So you see the rating of the mayor, Albert, myself, Pablo, and Carlos, and we still have to go through that process. So that's our recommendation for GrantWorks.
Any questions or comments?
A quick question, ma'am. Do you mind coming up?
Just make sure, and there's a red button, there's a button and it turns red, and that's when you know you're live.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Council. My name's Nelda Barrera, and I'm the Client Service Representative with GrantWorks.
Thank you for waiting patiently.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I know right now I know we seek assistance through this grant writing. It's a long process. It's tedious as well in terms of the federal guidelines and stipulations that all have to be met. And I know you work for other entities, municipalities around the valley as well. But for us specifically, what's a major grant that you're more focused on at this point for the city?
Well, in following the guidelines, the federal guidelines with CDBG, the Community Development Block Grants, and when we approach the communities, when these grant funds become available, basically we talk to the communities about their needs and priorities. Specifically with this Community Development Grant, because y'all are part of the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council, the communities representatives give input to the Lower Rio Grande Valley COG and identify what priorities are ranked, I guess, in consideration first, second, and third tier. And so with this particular grant, the Rio Grande Valley COG designates water, wastewater, drainage, and street improvements. And so this is basically the only grant that's available out there that communities are able to to utilize for street improvements.
Can you repeat that once again? Water, waste?
Water, wastewater, drainage, and street improvements. And it's the only CDBG grant that is available for communities to use towards streets and whether it's overlaying or redoing the streets. One thing that is different this year, this came down from the Texas Department of Agriculture. There is a two-phase process. Phase 1 application is due in December. It's a short application. Basically submit the scope of the project. They will review it. They score it. They score that application based on LMI, low to moderate income in the community. If you are within the tier 1 of the COG guidelines, you'll get the most points there. So they score it, and based on that is how, whether they determine if a community gets funded or not. Now, if on the phase 1, it scores high, the city will receive an invitation from the Department of Agriculture to submit the phase 2 application. That one is the 3 to 4 month. It's a long application, the longer application. That's where the engineering gets involved and dive deeper into the application. And this year, the other change to this grant is the funding is $750,000. So it's the first time that they increase it, because historically, it has been 500,000. And there is a, what is y'all's population?
8,100.
8,300,
Okay, there's a
8,400?
10% match. So population less than 10,000 is a 10% match.
So what made it go from 500 to 750?
Expenses, material, cost of materials.
CPI, there we go, inflation, okay.
Yeah. So they were seeing at the state level with TDA that with the 500,000, a percentage goes to grant administration, the other percent goes to engineering, and then you were left with that much to, if you wanted to do street. 10 years ago, you could probably pave 6 or 8 streets. Now, in the last few years, maybe 2, maybe, yeah. So they increased it. And that's what we're seeing.
Well, ma'am, we're gonna be looking for some good news hopefully in the future, right? And as much as you can, I know you guys work hard. And our streets do need them, obviously, ever since we had Highway 100 under construction, our access streets onto the side got used up a lot. So we do need as much help as we can, and we do appreciate the work you guys are doing.
Thank you. And when there is a grant opportunity that becomes available, I do my part in reaching out to the communities and making sure that Mr. Milam or his staff is aware of what's available, and we provide the necessary information, and then we go from there.
There's
Awesome.
one today
Yes.
that I
Thank
got.
you very much.
Thank you.
Mark, is there a motion that we need to make on this?
Yes, to approve the rating of
Okay.
the group and.
Is the rating that you all gave
GrantWorks.
Grant Works?
Yes.
All right, so is there a motion to be made?
Make a motion, the action item for the approval of the rating of Grant Works.
Okay, motion has been made
I second the motion.
and motion has been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Action item number 11, discuss and approve award to selected engineering, architectural surveying service providers for grant pre-application, application, and implementation services for the Los Fresnos 2025-2026 CDBG, which is Texas Community Development Grant Fund Program administered by the Texas Department of Agriculture. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is for the same CPG grant, same cycle. We sent out proposals, request for proposals, got 3 in, and you can see the ratings on those. So our recommendation is Hanson Professional Services is the #1 rated, and for them, you can see, if you look at the numbers, all 5 of us rated exactly the same, so the proposals were pretty consistent, and we saw them in a consistent manner, so I think that's good that it's not all over the board, so that's our recommendation.
Any questions or comments from the board, or is there a motion to be made?
Just a quick question, Mark, between the TriMad, Hanson, and Guzman, how do we use them differently?
Excuse me?
Is there 3 engineering companies, is that what we're looking at?
Yes,
And
3
we've used,
separate companies.
and we've used them all in the past for separate
We've used Hanson and Guzman and Munoz. We have not used the other one before.
Perfect, thank you.
Guzman and Munoz was a tough one because they come highly qualified, but for Hanson just had the upper hand on that one. At least that's my opinion. Okay, is that a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to approve the ranking for the engineering services rating tabulation.
Okay, motion has been made. And motion has been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raising your hand. Aye. Motion has been made, aye, and those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Action item 12, consideration and action to close at 12 PM on December 31st, 2024 for an employee end-of-the-year celebration. Mark?
I'll tag team with Jackie for the things I don't remember, but what we'd like to do is you know, a lot of our
Thank you.
don't like to do the Christmas party, but end-of-year celebration to kind of do the same thing. We do have some employees that don't celebrate Christmas the way some do, so with that being in mind, we do a end-of-year celebration. It's a good time to do it. Honestly, nothing much happens on the 31st in the afternoon. So we'd like to have a meal and have a gathering and then have you all there. We have some ideas about how to engage the employees and have some good fun and unifying. We'll use y'all to,
All you gotta do is
that's
put
where Jackie does.
all you gotta
have
do
to
is put a
speak
keg of beer out there and everybody will
You have
show
to
up
speak.
nicely.
on a mic, but can you explain kind of what your idea is? Doesn't mean we'll do that specifically.
Did I hear cruise there, Jackie?
Okay, so your participation would be, we're gonna get gifts for everybody. So to have them engage and kind of, participate, we'll have, let's say 2 groups. And then we'll have each of you there and we'll play like charades, you'll act out something, or you'll be given like a, what is it called, like a, let's say it says like a movie name, and they have to kind of
Guess,
give you
yeah.
guess to see what it is. That way you guys can participate, and
Ma'am,
whoever wins.
You do understand we're very competitive
Yeah,
people
yeah.
up here.
So we'll, that way everybody can have fun and play together. In the past, we've done similar. So I mean, that's the idea.
Have you determined a location yet, or
The
do you have some
community
ideas?
center.
Okay,
The community center. We've had our events there in the past, and everybody fits. There's restrooms, the kitchen, and tables and chairs, and I mean, we'll do the works.
Community center. Community center. You have it at the rodeo grounds.
No. Rope the
Yeah, we do
council
roping
member.
or whatever, rope the council member. Well, that's great. It's something to look forward to, and I'm sure the employees would be a good way for everybody to come together and do some team building even with us being able to participate alongside them.
Well, whatever you decide, Jackie, we're up for it.
Awesome, thank you.
Any questions or comments, or do we have a motion for this?
Now, we'll warn you, karaoke is my specialty.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
is alcohol permitted?
Probably not.
Wah, wah, wah.
No.
All righty then. So with that said, is there a motion to be made from the board?
I make a motion that we approve the close at 12 PM on December 31st, 2024 for the employees' end of the year celebration.
Okay, motion is made,
I'll second.
and motion has been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. At this time, acknowledgement of city managers' reports. Mark, is there any updates you want to give us?
2 things I wanted to update is, again, offer my apologies for putting you in a tough situation on the pest control. Hate when that happens, puts us all kind of in a awkward position that we don't want to be in. The next thing is the Veterans Memorial. We had tentatively said, hey, we'd like November 9th. It's not going to happen. We're not going to set a date again until it's completely done. The grass is there, the shrubs are there, and then we will set a date that's works for everybody in the future. We don't have to have it the day that it's finished, so we'll just plan at that time, and that way we'll have something very nice and won't be rushed and worried about whether all of it's done or part of it's done. So it still shouldn't be
What's the
too long.
delay? What's the delay on it?
Well, the last 3 weeks has been wet. Like it'll probably be another week before they can get in there and do any work. Some of it's been the prefab. I think I mentioned to y'all those things that are the emblems, the things that go around them were the wrong size, and there's been disagreement on whose fault that was. They've resolved it now, but it just takes time for some of those things to happen. And that's all I have, is unless you have any particular question.
Set for Halloween, anything, who's in charge of that? Is that the chamber
Chamber
stuff?
does
Chamber of
that
Commerce.
through us, and of course, we're very involved as well.
How we doing on that, front deal? For the veterans?
Veterans, that's what he talked about earlier.
That's what he
Yeah.
talked about right now.
And we're behind schedule, and
We're
we're gonna
behind.
just change the date for the opening, I believe you said, Mike?
Yeah, it'll be, we'll just wait until they finish before we do a date.
Mark, you're working on the road next to Dairy Queen?
Yes.
Is that gonna finish, is that a quick little project, or is that gonna take a
I
couple of
hope
weeks?
so.
Yeah? Okay, what's going in there? Just a street repair? Are we working on those manholes and stuff?
They're redoing manholes in the sewer line. It's an old sewer line, and that is another piece of the puzzle to, problems with infiltration when it rains, and our system being overwhelmed, and then problems that,
In other areas?
so will any one of them fix it? No, but all of them together will get us a lot further down the road, so.
More efficiency in
Yeah.
the flow of different things down there underground, okay?
One more thing, Mark, I know we've been working on that water line on Alamo Street, I believe, and it gave us a little bit of trouble this past week.
Yes.
And I know we try to do our best to advise the public when that happens and we have to shut back down. I know now that we're building a little bit more commercial properties down that avenue as well. Is there a way, do you recommend for us to, be on social media advertising, those things that are happening on the spot, or do you prefer it to come through the city itself, to advise the public?
We should do it, and we advised, but then there was other problems that came emergency, and it's basically you just do the best you can until it's done. That particular day, they got it ready and then opened things up, and
Found
two
a can
hours
of
later,
worms,
it
can of
busted
worms.
again, and I got a video of that, and then they fixed it, and then 2 hours later, had another problem, and so it was all the way until midnight that night. So, yes, we do our best to give them well in advance, like the day before, but we expect it to be done and there not to be additional problems, but
But we put that on the notices, we put, expected time, but knowing that things come up, right? Some kind of
Yeah.
verbiage in there?
most people they understand, but of course, when you're
And
We have
being
some
out
in a
to
house full
water.
of kids and you're trying to bathe them and there's no water to.
Of course.
I know some people put water in their bathtub and were able to get by, so they were smart.
Thank you, Mark. At this moment, we do even motion the acknowledgement of department head reports?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to acknowledge city manager's reports?
I make a motion that we acknowledge, manager's report.
A motion made? I'll go ahead and second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Acknowledgement of department head reports. Is there any questions, comments, or a motion?
Make a motion, we accept all department heads' reports.
Motion made
I second the motion.
and motion seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. It's 7 o'clock. Meeting adjourned.